pray that you are prospering and living in health, even as your soul prospers. Let's talk some more about success today. Success is a very important topic because success is a very important part of our life. We all want to be successful. Now, anytime you find someone saying, well, success is not that important, that person really hasn't thought through. Because to succeed means to accomplish your goal, to succeed in reaching, to live your dream, to live your plan. I mean, even if you just want to be successful at going to the grocery store, success means you made it to the store and made it back home. You made it to the stove. Okay, stow and no more. So we're talking about success, and we're using my book, 40 Days of Success, and here's a copy of it. It's available at Amazon.com. And what I'm going to do today is start on going through an outline of the book, an overview of the book, and give you the principles. Cheers. So 40 Days of Success. Why 40? Because 40 is enough time for you to settle down, develop some habits. And 40 is a divine number of maturation. You see 40 days and 40 nights in the flood of Noah. You see 40 days, 40 nights with Moses up on the mountain. And Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights. Now, God didn't just pick 40 as a random number. God understands numerology. Anyway, for you, we're talking about biblical success motivation. How do you apply the principles of the Bible to your life and succeed? Well, first of all, you have to understand that principles are developed over time. We need to develop more character, not just charisma. And how is character developed? It's developed over time. Les Brown talks about when you have a bad day. He said, when you come to the end of a bad day, say this: it's not been a bad day, it's been a character building day. How many of you have had some character building days? You said, man, I had 2 last week. When your boss calls you in and is not going so good with the reports and the projections and so on. You know what I'm talking about. Or when your family is acting all crazy and all that. But anyway, or it could be you're under financial stress, as many people are. So we're teaching this to show you how to build character that will overcome adversity, because character will overcome adversity. So 40 days, 40 nights, 40 days of success. So again, here's the book. It's at Amazon.com. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. Okay, at Amazon.com. And it is a biblical success program. So let's take a look at the outline. Week 1, we laid it out in weeks. I took my training experience and applied it to this book. How do people learn? People largely learn systematically and by laying things out. And we need to learn how to structure learning for people. So we start out with week 1. Then, of course, we have week 2, week 3, week 4, and so on, up to 40 days. Now, each week has a topic or a heading. And week 1 is the process of success. So let me in the beginning here share with you how the tool works so you will learn how to apply the principles. You need to know how the tool, how the book, 40 Days of Success works. I heard a saying back in Bible college, 7 days without prayer makes 1 week. W-E-A-K, okay? So we're dealing with 40 days of success. So now we're going to look at the first 7 days of success. What do we teach you in the first 7 days? Okay, now let's put on your helmet, grab your sword, and let's get ready to go to war and win this success war. Because the war we are in now is a war of success. See, folks, we are living in the information age. We're living in a time that the demands on you are great. Have any of you had any new updates on your job with information technology, Chat GPT replacing people, all this new stuff, all these apps, and you've got to have a cell phone that can download and move and transfer and share information and all this stuff and protect the customer privacy. See, we're living in an interesting time, and we're living in a time or in times that I believe demand more mental vigor. And I believe it demands more spiritual vigor. You need a solid spiritual foundation. We're living in a time that you need to be committed to excellence. Vince Lombardi said the quality of a man's life is in direct proportion to his commitment to excellence, no matter what his chosen field of endeavor. And I believe we live in days that we need to commit to success through excellence. So first we talk about the process of success. Day one is the process of the success. And what is the process of success? Well, that's based on Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. In fact, let's take a look at that and lay a solid foundation. The process of success. Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. So that lays out the process of success. And there are four things. Number one, information, this book of the law. Number two, affirmation shall always be upon your lips. Number three, meditation, meditate day and night. And number four, application, be a doer of the word. Now, the amazing thing to me is many people listen to us, or listen to me primarily. They always ask, who's we, who's they, who's us? Well, we're talking about O.B. Smalls. And they'll come back to me and say something like, well, everything is not just affirmation. Or if they're a Christian, everything is not just confession. You got to get a job. You got to work. Well, of course, anyone with common sense knows you're not going to be successful by just sitting around talking about success. That's why we put together the book, 40 Days of Success, because we're giving you 40 days of action on information. But you got to have the right information. If you have action without the right information, you're going to have disaster. It was Aristotle that says, vision without action is a daydream, but action without vision is a nightmare. All right. So you need vision, you need information, and you need to take action. So the process is the book of the law, information, in your mouth, affirmation, thinking on a day and night, meditation, and doing it, application. So what do we have here? We have information, we have affirmation, we have meditation, and we have application. Because James said, be doers of the word. Now, so that's the foundation of the whole 40 Days of Success training, Joshua 1:8. This book of the law, this information, God's information, shall not depart out of your mouth. Affirmation, but you shall think on and meditate day and night, meditation, that you may observe to do. You got to do something. Application, then you'll be prosperous, and then you will be a good success, because the doer is blessed. Okay, so we dealt with day one. I think we beat that up pretty good. Cheers. Now, day two in 40 Days of Success is about clarity, getting clear. And here's where we help you to get clear on your vision, your mission, and your values, the direction that you are going in your life. And this is a very important part, because most people are not very clear. This is why most people, it's something like 85% roughly of college graduates, when they get out of college, they end up going into a career or earning their living in a career that was not related to their degree. That's because they didn't understand clarity. And the college counselor or the high school counselor or whoever they were talking to didn't help them to get clear. What do you want to be when you grow up? Again, what do you want to be when you grow up? Who do you want to be when you grow up? What is your dream? What is your vision? What is your mission? What are your values? We teach you to develop clarity. And day number 3 is to write your vision statement. Now, this is very important because the Bible says in Habakkuk, write the vision. Say, write the vision. So we're talking about writing the vision, which is biblical, and writing your mission and writing your values. And I help you to lay out your vision, your mission, your values. Now, it's very important that you wake up every day with a sense of clarity, a sense of direction, a sense of vision. What makes America a great country? The Constitution. What's the Constitution? You could say it's our written vision statement. It's the vision that the forefathers had for this country. And a lot of that is being questioned and challenged today. But I believe the forefathers were very wise. If you look at the way they structured the balance of power and all that in developing this country, it's a great country, all right? So you have your personal constitution or your vision. Day 4 is your words frame your world. You can't get around O.B. Smalls without hearing about words. You're going to hear me sooner or later talk about words because Jesus said, whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that what he says shall come to pass, he shall have what he says. So I say your words are creating, your words are forming, your words, you're prophesying. You are the prophet of your life. We're doing something a little different and giving an overview of 40 Days of Success, my book, 40 Days of Success, which is available at Amazon.com. Check it out. Okay, so we've talked about day 1, the process of success. Day 2, clarity. Day 3, write your vision statement. Day 4, your words frame your world. You said, this sounds like a dirty 4-letter word called work. Yeah, it is work. But the way we laid the book out, and what I'm doing is going over the first week, is if you can see that, it's easy to read. It has graphics, it has pictures, it has illustrations, and it's colorful. We tried to make success simple, but what you need to learn to do is systematically take one day at a time. Because the way I encourage you to use this program is don't just sit down and read the whole book. You could sit down and read the whole book, and some of y'all have done that. Why? I know human nature. You order the book and you look at it and say, man, this is an easy read. I'll just grab a glass of wine and I'll be done with this in an hour. Then you're spilling the wine all over the book. Okay. All right, we're just having a little fun. You ought to be having fun. You ought to be. You ought to be. Tower of Power. Okay, let's get back to seriousness. 40 Days of Success. So what we want you to do is take one day at a time. Read one lesson and apply that lesson that day. Now, if you want to read through the whole book, it's your book. You bought it. Okay. But if you want to be trained, the reason is, with all gravity here, to use a biblical word, is gravity means you're well grounded. we learn by spaced repetition. See, many people don't know how we learn. Many people don't understand the difference between teaching and training. Many people don't understand how to digest information. Now, I know that because I am a teacher and I've learned that. Spaced repetition means you space things out over time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you read a book? One day at a time. You can sit down and read the whole thing. But if you take about, say, 7 pages of the average book, 7 to 10 pages, read that and digest it, put the book away and pick it up again the next day and do it over roughly 40 days. You say, well, it'll take me forever to read. And my motivational guru told me I need to read 3 books a week. Well, you go ahead and read 3 books a week and tell me what you learned. All you did was get gobbledygook because you went through everything so fast. You didn't meditate. See, meditation means to draw back, to pull back on the shores of Galilee. You don't have to be on Galilee. And contemplate and think about what you have heard. We don't spend, as Americans, enough time in contemplation. We just spend so much time in information. And with things like AI now, the danger is we're getting really into information overload. So you got to learn to manage information by meditation. We're giving an overview of 40 Days of Success, my success motivation, biblical success motivation tool that's available at Amazon. And what we're really doing is showing you how to use the tool. Now, I know this is a little different. And you say, what kind of church is this? Well, first of all, we're not thinking church. We're thinking growth and development of human beings, of individuals, because we don't just speak to church people. We speak to humanity. At least I do. All right. So if you happen to get things with spiritual value and grow from our teaching, that is good, because there is spiritual value even in success teaching. But right now, we're dealing with some success motivation principles to help you to win. Now, I don't want to get deep, but it's actually all spiritual. Like some people said, this is not spiritual. We need separation of church and state. You really can't separate church and state. Now, that's a deeper topic, but the church is the pillar and ground of the truth. The church is we are the vanguard, the forefront, the carriers of the message and the authority of Jesus Christ in this planet. Why do you want to separate the church from the state when the church is the salt and the light of the world? Does that make sense? Okay, let's get back to success. Because I can get in there and preach. Okay, so we talked about day 4 being your words frame your world. And you know, we harp on, we dwell on, we teach a lot on the power of words, because you can have what you say. Day 5 is prosperity. Prosperity. And we even give a quote from John Wesley on prosperity, that a Christian is an industrious person who is prosperous, as I paraphrase. And this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth. Then you will make your way prosperous. Then you will have good success. 3 John 2, beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, bringing forth fruit in its season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall fail. No, prosper. The Bible, folks, the Bible teaches prosperity. The Bible teaches prosperity from Genesis to Revelation. Prosperity. Day 6 is personal development. Now, I really like this day because now we're getting into personal excellence, personal development, your style, the way you present yourself, the way you carry yourself, the way you communicate. Personal development is one of the greatest needs in the planet today, because some people are just bums. I didn't call you a bum, Okay, they say there were two bums on the bench one time sitting talking to each other. And one bum turned to another and said, well, I guess the life of a bum is not totally a waste. The other bum said, why? He said, we can always be a lousy example. We don't need lousy examples. We need good examples. And that's where personal development comes in. And day number 7 is success. Say success. Now let's wrap up by going over the 7 ingredients of success from my book, 40 Days of Success. I want to give it to you as an acronym. And an acronym is where you use the letters of a word to explain something with topics or content or short messages. So the first S is for simplicity. See the big picture, but keep it simple. Say big picture, simplicity. Big picture, simplicity. You've got to see the big picture, but keep it simple. U is for utilization. You got to use the ability that you have. You got to give it all you got. The first C is for conviction. You stand for something or you will fall for anything. Enough said. The next C is for change. Only in change is security to be found. Only in change. And I want to address this, but I'm not going to get into politics. But even with the things happening in America right now, America is going through some change. Well, what you need to learn to do is to be adaptable. Adaptability is one of the greatest characteristics of a human being, because change means adapt, but change doesn't mean destruction. It doesn't mean it's bad. One guy said the 7 last words of the church will be, we've never seen it done this way before. So, but we need to be people of change. You've got to change your evil ways, baby. Stop trying to sing. I'm not trying, I'm singing. I'm just having fun with you. Okay, S, U, C, C, E, 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 E. E is for what? Execution. You got to execute. I used to work with one entrepreneur, very successful entrepreneur and CEO, who said, either execute or be executed. Now, he didn't mean that he was going to execute anybody, but he made his people execute, all right? Execution, do it now. Get it done. Get her done, boy. All right. S is for service. Service is the path to greatness. It is the path to true success. See, learning how to serve people in whatever business, whatever operation, whatever your purpose is a major key. And the final S is for strategy. Chance favors the prepared mind, meaning good things happen to people who are prepared, people that have strategy. We have a section in the book on luck, L-U-C-K, laboring under correct knowledge. When you labor under correct knowledge, you will have success. Success is yours. Come and get it. Well, I thank you so much for joining me today. I trust that the teaching has been a help to you. We want to make you an offer of the book, 40 Days of Success, and it's available again at Amazon.com, and you can simply go there and buy it. Or for any donation you make during this teaching to Prevailing Word Pavilion, you simply go to prevailingwordnow.com, go over to the giving tab and make your donation. We will send you a copy of the book, 40 Days of Success, just to show our appreciation. And we're not here trying to get money out of you. If you don't want to give, simply go buy the book, okay? It's just called commerce. Go to Amazon.com, buy the book, and you don't have to give. Giving is a free will thing. You see, folks, God loves a cheerful giver, all right? And boy, a lot of people need to get a hold of that and get free. And it's got to be a work of God in you, that motivates you to give. That's why there's no pressure. If you want to buy the book, just go ahead and buy it. But if you do want to give, we want to give back to you by giving you a copy of the book, 40 Days of Success. Visit us on the World Wide Web at prevailingwordnow.com. And if there's anything we can pray about or help you with, please reach out to us by sending a message. You know, prayer is powerful, and we believe that God answers prayer. So you are in our prayers, and my faith is available to go to work for you. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying our study, 40 Days of Success. I believe we're going to continue on this because with the things happening in America and the world, you need to be grounded and rooted in good biblical principles. So 40 Days of Success, a biblical success program. Thank you for joining me. And may God expand your life until your destiny is fulfilled. I'll see you next week.
He'll remind you, I know the plans I have for you, to bring you peace with an expected end, for you know I has seen or ear has heard the joy in store for your expected end.